currently with MRT and formerly with Ford Motor Company. And what our topic here today is the best Bullitt. How many of you are Bullitt owners? How many would like to be Bullitt owners? How many know what a Bullitt is? This is working out. You're my people.
You got a minute 68 Mustang?
Thank you for that. This is pretty much an open format type thing that we put together here today, and what we want to do is kind of go back, do a little sentimental journey, pull out some of our old presentations from when I was with Ford that describe what these programs were, and a lot of these were to introduce the concept to the marketplace and to actually a lot of people inside of Ford as we were doing the vehicles, because as you're going to see in a minute, it was largely a skunk works. So, meaning we didn't have a lot of people, we didn't have a lot of attention, and for going fast and doing something cool, having very little attention from the adults is a good thing. So I was going to go through the presentations, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what has happened because of the 01 Bullitt. So to kick it off, a piece of trivia. When was the first Mustang badge Bullitt produced? 2001. Figures you guys would get that. A lot of people think it was 1968. No, who was Bullitt in that movie? Frank. So it's kind of cool that the iconic show, the iconic guy got associated with the iconic car, and that's really what led us here today. Thanks. So what I like to do is just hop into some of the original presentations, and after we're done, I'm going to go through some Q&A time, so this isn't going to take the full hour, so you guys don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, can I sit here in this heat? But open format is ask questions. You know, hey, I heard that this happened this way, what's the real story? If I don't know, I'll say so. If I do, I'll not make it up. All right, hit it. Okay, so who's driving that car?
Stuntman.
Nope. Chad McQueen. All right, so the basic premise of the Bullitt program was I had a new job at Ford. At this point in time, in 2000, Ford introduced this concept car called the 2005 Mustang, or the SN-95. Exciting, it had nostalgia, it was cool, it was going to be more power. It's the first time in history that Mustang was going to be all new, and it's 5 years away. That's a bad thing if you're in the marketing team, right? So my job was to come on to Team Mustang, and my job was pretty simple. It was keep Mustang exciting for 5 years so that people are buying it, and we get to actually do the 05 Mustang. So nobody had had that role as defined before, and I don't think anybody has since. So it was really, green space. We could do whatever made sense at the time. Therefore, I didn't have to have a lot of supervision or a lot of adult help in what we were doing. But we had feature cars before, and they were cute little stickers and maybe a fun name, maybe took a piece off of it. I mean, very little content, really, little substance. So that's one of the things that we wanted to do differently this time, is we wanted to add substance and take it a step back and get to the character of the car. So we had an image of what we wanted the car to be, and then we matched the content to deliver what that image needed to deliver. And one of the ways to go fast is, like I said before, to have a very small team, right? Have less indecision by committee. And I was granted that wish, and I was given no people.
Pretty small team.
But the good news is I was given no budget. So the first challenge was, how do you rally the troops? And obviously there are a lot of people at Ford Motor Company. Some of them are car people, some of them are not. Some of them are enthusiasts, some of them are not. it runs the gamut. Big company, right? A whole mix of people, just like in life. And we described what the Bullitt theme needed to be internally, and we asked for volunteers, literally from the team, who wants to help us pull this thing off. And surprisingly, we had a lot of people come forward, and more importantly, the right people come forward. So this vehicle, other than being stickers, we're going to go through the list of the things included in it, but it was about designing the car for the enthusiast. Not a lot of time to meet our timing. How long do you think it normally takes for a well-contented vehicle to happen from concept to customer in the Ford system? 4 years, 3 years. You're right, 3 to 5 years. We get 14 months. So no budget, no people, no time. This is looking good. Okay, so at this point, not only are we not getting supervision, nobody thinks that we have a chance pulling this off, right? This is a dumb idea. So the image of the car, the challenge for these volunteers is we need to have the best balanced GT yet, not the best of any component, right? So the clutch guy, he's not going to get to go do the best clutch. The engine guy, not the best engine, not the best transmission, it's the best balance, right? So it's got to do all of the little things better than any one car does as a whole. For an engineer, that's fun stuff, right? So that's how you get these enthusiastic people to jump on board and get involved. Go ahead. Limited edition with the collector in mind. Okay, so a couple cars out here in the field, there's tons of enthusiasm at this type of event, like they are around the world. And we wanted to design that enthusiasm into the car, right? It had to have a pedigree, it had to have collectability, it had to have a unique identifiable image. And in the Bullitt theme, as we all know, because it produced, it followed the less is more theme, right? So instead of screaming I'm special, it is subtly saying, you want a piece of this. So that was really what the theme started to evolve. At this point, we probably had, in some areas, more volunteers than we needed, which is kind of a different problem, but we'll save that for a different day. So that's the essence of what the Bullitt started off to be, and then this is how we went about to deliver it. Look at that, he had hair. Next. Does this one got sound on it? All right, so quickly, these are the media shots. So this is the finished car as we're rolling it out to the media, showing all of the finer points, not being just stickers. So here are the visual cues that we went around the vehicle to do. Inside, outside, under the hood, wheels, tires, brakes, suspension. When we say a contented car, there wasn't one system within the car that we did not change. So very heavy into content. And that's really what a lot of the people inside of Ford thought was going to be the noose around our necks. No way you're going to make all this stuff happen. Okay, go ahead.
Well, pretty technical. Is your sound on? Sorry.
I'm not singing it for you. So enjoy the little slideshow here of the essence. So we're showing the development of some of the body bits and pieces. Roush helped us out with providing us the styling. Actually, they helped us out with that car that we started with. That was a GT out of their lot that we borrowed. We did give it back.
In one piece.
Then we went on to the prototypes. So in the Ford world, we had, at that time, we had prototypes called 1PP, 2PP, never mind what that stands for, but they're early prototype phases. So these are cars actually built on the line that are going to then be used as the evaluation. See, 1PP, look at that, I remember. A point to be noted, this is all happening at Dearborn Engine Plant, or Dearborn Assembly Plant, sorry. And at this time, this plant, which was building the oldest vehicle in terms of architecture in the Ford system, is building the coupe convertible V6 GT, Cobra convertible, and Bullitt, all on the same line. The complexity is insane. What I just described in that age plant can't happen, yet the people that were in that plant made that happen. They were definitely part of that team of people who were enthusiastic. They could have been easily the link in the chain that got broken, saying, we're just not going to build this car. But they did not do that. They pushed for it.
Scott, what month was this?
I wish I could pause that one, if you can. All right, we'll go back to that one. Trivia time. What's wrong with this picture? Okay, those are the first two cars in the prototype phase off the line. Pardon me?
Wheels. The horse. The horse. Horse in the middle.
No, the hood. What's wrong with the hood?
The scoop.
That's right. That's okay. We got the answer. So, stuff happens. Just saying. Nobody caught that on the line. We caught that when we took a picture of it. All right, so this was, again, our internal presentation. The concept was the concept was not to continue on with the Bullitt. Right? Our intent was not to create a legacy. The legacy happened by you guys that bought the cars, right? So a club was developed around the Bullitt, a community formed around the Bullitt. Magazines couldn't write enough about the Bullitt, and that became the pull for Ford to create that as part of the brand. And as we all know, they celebrated the 2008 redesign, styling-wise, of the Mustang, which has very cool, nostalgic looks. Right. So what was missing in the 01 Bullitt was the styling. Right. We did not have a retro-looking car that we were trying to make look old and cool. So we had to invent what was cool in that memory with a style that was completely different. But then the 05 comes along and the styling is right on. And immediately the clamoring was, this would be cool in a Bullitt. So as we know, in 2008, it did happen. The content was quite different, but the essence they were still trying to convey. I wasn't with Ford at that point in time, which is probably a good thing now. But that car to me is about the styling. Right? The one was about the balance. It was about taking a bold move and trying something that was way out of the norm. And 2008, they had a serious responsibility to continue delivering that essence. And I think they did more than deliver on it. They really raised the bar. Now that styling is really important. Then the 15 Mustang comes along, and styling changes yet again. In what some could say in an opposite direction from the retro nostalgic cars, but some thought not. And here comes the next one in 4 months. When do you get the years, Tony? 3 months. So really cool, I think, to see that the brand has taken hold. We set a good foundation, I think, a good starting point. Those who have owned an 01 Bullitt, who are enthusiasts, all seem to have a common theme, and that is that co-connection with the car. This is a really cool car. I just love being in the car. It's my go-to fun toy. And that's my hope moving forward, is that stays part of the DNA in any Bullitt that comes from Ford Motor Company. The early, I've not been in one, but the early reviews and so forth is that this may have a different charm than the previous cars. So, the best Bullitt, in summary, in 01, clearly the best Bullitt in 01. Never had there been a better one. In 08, clearly the best styled. bullet, right? Most nostalgic, most appropriate, really connects the dots. And 19 might be the best performing bullet. I think we should all give it a run. Tony, do you have anything to add or take away?
I do. My name is Tony Alonso. I happen to have met Scott when he worked on, or not long after he had worked on these programs. And my first vehicle that I got that he had touched was the 2003 Mach 1. I had that for a number of years. But I also bought a 2001 Bullitt. I had wanted to get one at the time, and I didn't have the opportunity to. So I would ask Scott a lot of stories. You know, some of what he's shared here, and some of the photographs that he shared, I've seen and heard. But I bugged him incessantly. It's, why did they do this? And why did you pick this? And why did you put this engine? And why didn't you? And eventually,
For how many hours?
Yeah, for how many hours? Eventually, I had told Scott that I thought he has a great story as a part of Mustang history. It's only really, I mean, he started with his staff of one and finished things to four. And the movie itself. So it was a cool car, done in a cool way with a cool backstory. So I asked Scott if he would let me interview him. So he talked to me over about a 6-month period for over 10 hours of questions and answers about why did you do all this. And Scott talks a lot. No, don't get me wrong. I'm actually impressed he's doing what he's done today. But I told him, if you let me do this, I will help you and write your story, write a book. And so that's what we've done. And thankfully, it's not only done, but it's available here. And there's a lot of stuff that people have seen in the press and seen pictures. Here's how the Bullitt was developed, and the stories about why it's multiple colors and all that. But there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that I had never heard until I had gone through this process. So I would encourage you to stop by where we're at and take a look at that book. It covers both the 2001 Bullitt and the 03-04 Mach 1. And I think it was a privilege to be involved with that. I'm glad Scott's memory was functioning well enough to give me 10 hours worth of stuff.
The old guy jokes.
The old guy jokes, yeah. But a lot of the things that you may have seen or heard, there's some stuff in there that you won't find elsewhere. And again, it was a privilege to be a part of that. So I would give it back to Scott.
All right, your turn. Questions? Up front. We'll go back. How's that? Okay.
I heard a story about why there was a blue one Bullitt. I'm sure you know exactly why. I heard the woman was in charge of the ultimate decision, and that she wanted brighter colors and not black and dark green. He said, well, how about blue? And someone read it. I said, okay, but she didn't realize how dark it was going to be until you actually painted the car. Is that about right?
Yeah, parts of that are pretty close. Did everybody hear the question? So actually, there were two different colors being included in that conversation. So really, the essence is why other colors other than green for the 01 Bullitt. The program, all the way up to engineering sign-off, was in one color, dark Highland green. And Mary Ellen Haida was our engineering director, and she and Jay Mays and Steve Lyons, who were equal levels, so that's basically the three top people in the company involved with programs like this, were part of the sign-off. And the conversation ensued about, the company has never had a successful niche or low-volume production of anything in a single color, ever. I wasn't a good historian, I couldn't refute that. I was like, okay. So I gave my pitch about why green, how it's important, it's the essence of the car. And it's like, well, we've never had a successful one. Well, we've never done a project like, okay, Scott, we're going to do it in different colors or you don't have a program. Okay, what colors would you like? They picked blue and silver. And not being very smart, I said, okay, the dark colors I can kind of go with. Blue, all right. Can we do a different color? Can we do black instead of the silver? And here's the reason why. The car was dark Highland green. So let's at least stay true to that essence of a dark car. And they went back and forth, and they said, yeah, but we could call it the Silver Bullitt. And we all compromised that it was going to be 3 colors. It was going to be the dark Highland green, blue, and black. But the concession was we weren't going to force the mix, right? So in Ford speak, that is telling the dealers this is how many you're going to have of these colors. We're going to let the dealers order the colors. So that's how it actually happened, and every blue and black Bullitt that was built was ordered to be that color. Good question. Yes?
So I've listened to everything you've said so far about the Bullitt and how it started and everything. Is it a fair statement to say that you would be the father of the Bullitt for Ford?
To the consumers, yes.
Yeah.
From the production of that car, yes, the essence.
That I say thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'd have to share that light with Sean Tant. He was the brainchild behind it, right? So if it wasn't for his car at the LA Auto Show, I would never gotten a shot at it. So.
Yeah, you brought something unique to the market, which is kind of taking on a life of its own.
Yep, it did. It did.
And the other question I have, and I think I've answered it for myself, but the 01 came out in 01, which was not an anniversary of anything from a Bullitt standpoint. But I think you answered that in respect to the fact that you were trying to shore up something before the 05s came out. So that's why that odd date was presented for the 01s.
Yeah, there was actually 2 things going on. Emissions testing and criteria were changing in 02. And all of the product that we had to pull from was going to meet the emissions that were in place through the 2001 model year, which is why only the few month run of production, and there is the answer to that, is we legally couldn't sell that car meeting the new standards of 2002. So we had to design it, develop it, get it to market, collect the sales, and deliver them before the 2002s came out. So yeah, it was exciting. One more in the back.
How hard was it to bring Warner Brothers in on this? In a very short time, to get Warner Brothers to sign off on this.
That was a longer process than the car took, is the honest answer. So we were negotiating with 2 different groups, 2 separate groups. How would I know, right? So the McQueen Foundation. So Steve McQueen and his foundation have claims and some associated rights to the Bullitt, and of course, Time Warner. And so it was negotiating with 2 different people with 2 different agendas and all this kind of good stuff. And thank God I didn't have to get involved in it. Our attorneys did at Ford. And they actually hammered out a deal after production had started. So also a little dicey, right? So technically the ink wasn't dry, right? We were making cars that we really couldn't sell yet. And at the last minute, there was a financial obligation that Ford had to both. And then the McQueen family wanted the first 4 cars built. Now, what I just said is that production had already started, right? So there are contracts and legal obligations that once a car gets ordered and scheduled, and that scheduled order gets communicated to the customer, that's your car. So several of the cars had already been scheduled and notified, and that ship had sailed. And the negotiating people weren't too amused with that answer, and they said, well, fix it. So our fix was that we came up with 4 cars that were uniquely identified for the McQueen family, McQueen 1, 2, 3, and 4. They were actually produced some 2,000 cars into the production run, but they're unique, and they're out there. And the McQueen family doesn't own all 4 of them anymore. In fact, they may only own 1. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
What's unique about it?
Pardon me?
What was unique about it?
The Bullitt label, instead of just saying Bullitt in a number, it said McQueen 1, McQueen 2, McQueen. Yep. Other than that, there's...
I was curious at this time, around 2000, 2001, the Camaro was kind of going away, basically. I'm just curious, what was
the attitude like at Ford with the Bullitt? Is there any sense that you got to make something that's faster than Camaros? Like they're going the way of the dodo, we don't really care. If you could just sort of give some description of what that competitive atmosphere was or was not like.
Well, probably just the best way to describe that was from a relatively new Ford employee at the time. Her comment to me was, "Are you freaking out of your mind? The industry has gotten out of this niche. What are we doing spending money on it?" I got that a lot. Saying. So that, I mean, I'm sure that there was a lot of data to back that position, but I think there's a lot of the commitment in, you know, I know these people. I would buy this car, and there's me out there, right? So we're doing it.
How dumb does she look now?
Didn't keep track.
How dumb does she look?
Yeah, she wasn't alone in that. There was a mounting army of people that were kind of on that path.
How much is your book, Scott?
How much is my books? So let me introduce you to the director of sales. So we have two versions of the book, to answer your question. The content's the same between the two books. We have a collector's edition. Okay, true story is I've never read a book that hasn't been assigned until that one. So I'm not a book aficionado. I didn't know there was a collector book thing. So I guess there is. So we're honoring that. There's a collector's edition that has a certificate of authenticity. They are numbered. There's 300 of them that will be packaged as collectors. Each one of the books has a little Easter egg surprise inside that's not advertised, not being charged for, but if you are an enthusiast, you'll get it. So the collector edition is $100. The standard edition, the one that you can read and leave on the coffee table, spill coffee on, is $80. Or you can have two. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
On the new car that's coming out, what's the approximate price range?
That is a great question. I haven't been with Ford for 17 years, so I'm the village idiot on that stuff.
I can answer that.
Yes.
The pricing information is out on the webs. The base car is about $46,000 with shipping and handling. Makes it about $47,600, and then there's three options associated with it.
And then the dealer add-on.
Yeah, and that'll crank it up to just shy of about $50,000 for the car.
Okay.
Now, that's excluding any possible dealer markup.
So just one thing so post moment, permission, how much was the 01 Bullitt?
42.
New.
23.
New.
20.
Tony?
24.
29.
26 and change. That's some content for 26 grand. I'm pretty proud of that. Okay, that's it. Other questions?
Do you have one of the new ones here?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Yep. The question was, is there a 19 here? And there is in the Ford display.
68's not here.
Right, yeah. The story I heard is 68 was pre-committed on the West Coast and just couldn't get logistically from there to here to support it.
Was it DC
Yes.
a lot, but it should have probably.
Should be a couple dozen in Schofield Farms.
The success of the 01 Mustang is what kind of drove Ford to get into the
Good segue in question. That absolutely paved the way. So I was responsible for the 03 Mach 1 as well. And I'm going to say yes with the answer of the success. However, here's the real story. Is we had to I had to come up with the content and go into our concept approval kickoff for the Mach 1 before we actually launched the Bullitt. So we hadn't shipped a Bullitt yet. So there was a whole lot of, trust me, this is going to be good. People are excited. This is going to work. We need to do another one.
Leftover Bullitt parts.
Got lucky. Yeah.
Did you get an attaboy with the success of the car? Did anybody say great job?
You know he's no longer.
Great job.
All of you people did. The Yeah, corporate politics are what they are. Good questions. Ones that I haven't heard before. This is fun. What are the ones? Well, if you come up with any other ones, again, we're set up right at the end of the Bullitt tent, and we do have some books there if you want to take a peek through it. There are some pictures and certainly stories that are in that book that are not seen anywhere else, never have been seen anywhere else. So it's kind of a cool insider view, and that's the intent. Hopefully you can kind of get into the mindset of what things might have been like working on a project like that at Ford during that time frame. So stop by, say hi, ask questions. One more.
Since you two gentlemen, Anthony, I need to talk to you a little bit there, sir. But I was going to say, since you guys are insiders on the Bullitt, can you guys get us an exclusive around the car so we can sit in it?
That'd be Tony.
Where's John Clore?
Come back tonight after everything closes.
I'm betting the keys are out there somewhere.
Gotta be, it's really here.
So, one more.
I have a question for you. They recently found both of the original Bullitt cars. How did that make you feel when they found them, knowing that you helped continue that legacy? What was your thoughts?
The U.S.-based car, we did find in 2000. And we talked to Dad, who's no longer with us. And for all of his reasons, and they're his, and they have to be respected, he wasn't interested in it coming out into public purview. And since then, unfortunately, he's passed away, but his son has taken, obviously, quite a different little tack. So it's cool that it's out, right? I was at the Detroit Auto Show when it was first revealed, and I thought it was pretty freaking cool. Thank you very much. Stop by and say hi.